Yeah, we had brother slid off the road on the ice.
Oh, that thin black ice stuff?
Yeah, that thin ice.
Yeah. Yeah, man, I was raised in California, brother. The only thing that make us swerve off the road was alcohol. Like, we didn't have to worry about, we didn't have like ice and stuff to worry about, man. We considered ourselves quite safe, to be honest with you. We got to the point where we knew how to maneuver around all the other niggas that were drinking. Shoot. But ice was a whole different thing in California. Y'all know that. All right. So listen, man, we've been covering the topic, the question of the fallen sons, the fallen angels, excuse me, the fallen angels. And last week we went into, first of all, the foundation, the verse that we were operating from, right? Is two verses, one of them in 2 Peter chapter 2, here come on now. In 2 Peter chapter 2, verses 1 through 11. And then the other one was in Jude. We hadn't, hey, Shalom, Mama Yetazah.
Shalom.
And we hadn't gotten to Jude yet, because I'm just doing this very systematically. So we got as far as verse 4, 2 Peter chapter 2, we read verses 1 through 4, and we were covering the first line of verse 4. So Mama Yetazah, do me a favor and catch us up on that. Read 2 Peter chapter 2, verses 1 through 4, and you're going to focus on that first line in verse 4.
2 Peter chapter 2 and verse 1. But there were false prophets also among the people, even as there shall be false teachers among you, who privily shall bring in damnable heresies, even denying the Lord that bought them, and bring upon themselves swift destruction.
Now stop. Remember what this showed us. This showed us right off the bat that the topic, the theme that this verse is dealing with is false teachers. And then as he moves forward in his message in this chapter, he's giving us an example of other periods in time when men on the earth that were the Most High's people went off, and then how they were judged in the end. So he's preceding that with this information. This have nothing to do with things, let's say, in the spiritual realm. Everything that he's talking about is dealing with what? With things in the life of Israelites, of the Israelite nation and its predecessor. You know, our predecessor nation were the Adamites. That's who we were. And that's who we are. That's why the Most High continually refer to us as the second Adam. He refers to Christ as the first Adam and the second Adam. So go ahead, continue on, Yetazah.
Verse 2. And many shall follow their pernicious ways, by reason of whom the way of truth shall be evil spoken of.
Right, it's talking about those false teachers. Their conduct would result in what we follow after being evil spoken. That's why some of you, I know you done already been in conversations, whether at the work site, the mall, and if people happen to find out that you're an Israelite, they sometimes got something negative. Oh, snap. They got something negative to say. One of their cousins, one of their daughters, right? Somebody did something, and it was an Israelite. It's behind men that operate disorderly that the truth is evil spoken of. In this chapter is giving reference to who? To the false teachers. Go ahead.
Verse 3. And through covetousness shall they with feigned words make merchandise of you.
So once again, what was the motive? The motive is you have something that they want. And because that's something that they want, you have, they're going to, in other words, they will say, feigned words means fake, that everything they're speaking is fake, with the intention of what? Of making merchandise of the members of their congregation. Continue.
Whose judgment now of a long time lingereth not.
Now here's the hook. He's saying, see, their judgment is on their way. It's lingering, but it's coming. Now he's going to use his reasoning, because if the Most High didn't spare these other people, is what he's saying. Go ahead.
And their damnation slumbereth not. For if the Most High spared not the angels that sinned.
Now, you guys got the notes already, right? We're not going to go through this. I just wanted to get us up to that point. This is where we are. If the Most High spared not the angels that sinned, That was it. We didn't even touch the rest of this verse, because the angels that sin are not talking about what? Are not talking about angelic beings. And that's where we went. We went from there. You don't have to do it now because the brothers got it in the notes. And if they don't have it in the notes, then they can refer to it to the recording should be in you guys' YouTube archive, right? Okay. So we went on to establish, we used Genesis chapter 6. And we only got as far as verse 3. Genesis chapter 6, verses 1, 2, and 3, where it said, the sons of the Most High looked and saw that the daughters of men, looked and saw the daughters of the sons of men, and how they were fair, right? And so what we set out to do was to establish, whenever you read in the scripture, the sons of God, there are two classifications of the sons of God. And we started off on the first classification. The first category of the sons of the Most High are angelic beings. They are celestial beings. We call them angels. The second category of the sons of the Most High, of the sons of God in common terms, are terrestrial beings called human beings. And they are the seed of Adam all the way down to the seed of Jacob, Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob. Now we're still on the first category. What did we do? We went on to prove that the angels, these angelic beings, the celestial sons of the Most High, that they do not sin. We went to 2nd Ezra chapter 6, we read verses 1 through 6 to show you that what? That the Most High had a plan. 2nd Ezra chapter 6, verses 1 through 6 was designed to show us that the Most High had a plan that what? The innumerable angels were already established before he even set the plan into motion. That was what that verse was designed to show us. That his plan, in other words, when you start dealing with fallen angels or let's say celestial beings disobeying the Most High, then come on, everybody, I'm saying this to the YouTube world. That would not make him the Most High. That would make him the Almost High. He's almost there, but not quite. Why? Because something he created got out of his hands. Something he created went awry. That's what that doctrine suggests. That these angels revolted and the Most High was powerless to control them. So the only result was to take the leader, the ringleader, and cast him out of heaven with 1/3. We're gonna prove that a myth and a lie today. Because if that's the case, then how come Satan got back into heaven in Job? How come the Most High didn't say, well, who let this nigga in? But the Most High was expecting him. Come on over here. Where you been at? Oh, yeah? Well, did you check out my boy Job while he was down there? So the Most High, this dude is a permanent fixture in the celestial realm. But we'll get there. All right. So that's what we went to 2nd Ezra chapter 6, verses 1 through 6. We went on to what? 2nd Ezra chapter 9. We read 2 verses. We read verses 18 and 19. You good, Shams Juwan? What's wrong?
I'm gonna sit right here because I want my wall on there to see you from behind.
Okay, well then he can move up in front of the pole. Then I mean, if anybody, y'all, I know that if you move that pole, the place will collapse in on you. So we ain't trying to get y'all to do no unnecessary remodeling, but you still can move in front of the pole if you want. But like this pole, we just gotta move away this pole right here. But so we went to 2nd Ezra chapter 9. I'm going through this so that people out in the, whether even here who wasn't here last Friday, or that's out in the YouTube land, whatever you call it, YouTube landia, and they can at least know where we're picking up from. So when we read 2nd Ezra chapter 9, verses 18 and 19, the Most High told, matter of fact, that's where we'll start off now. At least we can read and recap that and move forward. Because remember, it tells us something about who obeyed and who disobeyed. So go there, Yetazah, 2nd Ezra chapter 9, and you're going to read verses 19. Now remember, 2nd Ezra chapter 6 lets us know the state of affairs before even the angels were created. All right. 2nd Ezra chapter 9, verse 18 puts us at what? everything at this point is created with the exception of man. I shouldn't say that. Let me put it like this. In 2nd Ezra chapter 9 and verse 18, what is created right now, only the angels have been created. That's where we stand. We go from the Most High working on the plan. He already have his plan. The blueprint's made out in in 2nd Ezra chapter 6, but nothing has been what? Set in motion yet. But by the time we get to 2nd Ezra chapter 9 and 8 and verse 18, so far, the things that have been created are celestial beings. And what are we going to read about them? Go ahead, Amiyatazar. 2nd Ezra chapter 9 and verse 18.
2nd Ezra chapter 9 and verse 18. And now, when I prepared the world, which was not yet made.
So how do we, hold on. What is that confirming? The physical earth ain't made yet. That's what that verse is letting us know. Now, when I prepared the world, which was not yet made, go ahead. So that means what are we dealing with? With anything that he mentions, he's dealing with spiritual creatures. Go ahead. Spiritual beings.
Even for them to dwell in that now live.
So start at the top again, verse 18.
All right, verse 18 from the top. And now when I prepared the world, which was yet not made, even for them to dwell in that now live, no man spake against me.
Now you hear that? He said the place where the people that would live, they weren't there. Because what? This is before I prepared the world. I knew who I was going to put in it. I ain't made it yet. I ain't even made the people who were going to be put in it. And therefore, nobody spake against me. Now listen, he's not saying that's because nobody was there. The next verse lets us know who was there, whose presence accompanied that of the Most High at this point. Go ahead and read verse 19.
Verse 19. For then everyone obeyed.
So at the stage of creation to where the earth hadn't been made, but and man clearly hadn't been put on it, who was there to obey or disobey? Only celestial beings. We call them angels. Only the spirits. But he said none of them disobeyed. Think about that. So how is the angels rebelling? At what point did they fall? Now, let's read that from the top again, verse 19.
Verse 19. For then everyone obeyed.
Go ahead.
But now the manners of them which are created in this world that is made are corrupted by a perpetual seed.
Who is he referring to? He's saying everybody that was back then before the world, nobody disobeyed. But now the people who dwell in this world, they've been corrupted by a perpetual seed. And we went last week and we read those verses of the perpetual seed, 2nd Ezra chapter 3, 2nd Ezra chapter 4, right? The perpetual seed was a wicked heart that we already had. Adam was created with a wicked heart. The newness of Adam is what made him look good. He was new. When I say new, literally, the Most High just made him. And so what was Adam's disadvantage? He had absolutely no experience. And this thing that he would go and do was nothing more than idolatry. Now, I don't say it to trivialize it, like it's a small matter, but that's what it was. It wasn't sex. You didn't look over and see Eve and be like, damn, and go and have sex with Eve. And then Eve was like, well, damn, look what you did when we naked. And all that. No, that's a bunch of BS. That's Catholic BS. We already read that the first commandment they received was what? Be fruitful and multiply. Get over there and have some sex and fill this void place up. So that wasn't the disobedience. The disobedience we found out through 2nd Ezra chapter 3, verses what? Verses like 17 all the way down to 26, that it was the things that was done from the time of Solomon to the time of King Zedekiah. Those are the very same things that were done during the time of Adam up until the flood. It was all idolatry. So that is the perpetual seed, meaning that's the thing that Adam committed that won't go away. When you say perpetual, has anyone ever heard of something being done in perpetuity? That means forever. So the perpetual seed, the seed wasn't a sperm. The seed was an idea. Anybody ever heard the song, you know me, I'll be from saying stuff that y'all brothers don't know because everybody's like 90 years younger than me in there. But there's a song by Sam Cooke called Rome Wasn't Built in a Day. Do me a favor on me, I want you to look up the lyrics. Put up Sam Cooke, Rome wasn't. I'm gonna show you how the term seed. That's right. We're gonna do this. I'm gonna show you how the term seed is used in the Bible. Our people used to speak like that the farther back you go. I mean, the biblical type of speaking, that parabolic phrasing. We used to do that. We still do it. It's just it's more vulgar, it's more crude. It was back in the day, we were a little bit more, even though we were not as quote educated, so to speak, we were still we were so much more eloquent in our speech because we spoke in many cases how the Bible was written, although we couldn't read it. That's how we used to speak. We used to speak very parabolically. So you're going to find that song, the lyrics on the Yetazah to Sam Cooke's song, Rome Wasn't Built in a Day. And we're going to examine the first verse. I'm not going to sing it, y'all. I don't want to, I ain't trying to turn nobody against me. Well, we all a family here. He gonna get it. Let's see. Okay, go. Hold on. Scroll down. Right here. So now you know that I love you, dear, with all my heart. I know that you didn't love me from this. This is a man trying to win a woman's heart, right? You know that I love you, dear, with all my heart. I know that you didn't love me from the start, but I planted a little seed in your heart, I know, and it just needs time to grow. Baby, that's how the song goes. This is a cold song, right? Now, what is he saying? That I thank you, Mama. Yeah, that's good enough. They got that. That's a wrap. So this dude is trying to win a woman's heart, and initially she don't want him, but he done planted what seeds? What did he do? Whip out his penis, get everything going, and shoot it on the chest? No, that's not what he did. He put ideas in her mind.
Thought in my head, come.
Huh?
Put a thought in my head, that's what I was gonna say. But
exactly, like a thought. But the thought, remember, it's an idea. The idea of being with me. The idea of being with somebody you don't want to be with. But what does he plan on doing? He said it just needs time to grow. What does he mean? I mean, he's gonna water it. He's gonna do things to get her to look beyond what it is she's focusing on that's making her say no. And that's what happened with Adam. But the Most High had Satan use Eve because Adam was not the weaker one. But Adam was weak to his woman. Just like all of us. I say all of us, I don't mean in this, I'm talking about black men. I can't tell you, back in the day when I worked corrections, half the niggas in prison is there because of a woman. And they're literally, I mean, that's to say, hey man, right, brother, shit. You know? Yeah, brother. Oh, you hear that? I say, hey man, right there, brother. Not to take us to church, how many after that? Because we're very intemperate when it comes to women. We don't think right when it comes to women. That's the reason. Listen, that's what it comes down to. That's the Most High made her like that, and she's one of the principal instruments that is used to exercise our manliness against, our manhood against, our wisdom against. They're supposed to think different. They're supposed to be from Venus and we from Mars. That's how they got that women are from Venus and men. They're supposed to be completely different because we have to master control. The Most High said he gave us dominion of everything. And the one we didn't take dominion over was the closest one to us. That's the reality of it. So this dude, Sam is planting the seed in this woman's head, and now he's gonna start working on it. What the hell happened? Oh, they got dropped.
Looks like it. You're still live though.
Okay, well, cool. Okay, let's see, recording start. What the hell? Did I say
they're
something that YouTube? I'm about to say, did I say something that YouTube just said, skip this nigga? What? Did not, what the hell? I ain't said nothing about the social things that's going on these days. I ain't talking no type of conspiracy theories that, the system don't want people to know about. We'll get to that later. So this now the perpetual seed that was planted, the seed that was planted, that once planted and watered, it would never go away, is idolatry. And to this very day, we exercise it on some level. Anybody got posters in your room of Michael Jordan? Idolatry. That nigga ain't never did nothing for you. Anybody got Michael Jackson? Remember them Beat magazines, Right On? Maybe that, okay, here I go again, right? Back in the day, back just after the Stone Age, all of our soul and pop culture dudes, they had these little magazines called Right On and Beat magazine. They basically focus on artists. That all that is an idolatry, or what do you call it? An idolatry pimp. It's just, it's telling you what this rapper's doing, what this rapper's doing, and then you got all the little posters. And then you listen to a rap song, all you're listening to, especially back when rap first started, all you listening to was what? Idolatry, self-worship. One of the more famous ones, Sugar Hill Gang, right? Rappers Delight. All the niggas did was talk shit about themselves, and none of it was real. I got big bad cars. I'm about to go down and grappling with these dudes, but you know what I mean, right? Because I will butcher it. Yes, I've accepted I'm a Yakuza. Then I'm in that age bracket where like the grandparents keep getting everything that's the sayings and the little hip talk wrong. I have officially arrived there. I don't know what happened. I didn't realize I was even on that train, but I'm there now. So I'll be getting everything wrong. But listen, anybody back in the day heard them artists like Dana Dane and Cool, what's his name? The dude, what's the dog? Big Daddy King. Everybody, I'm trying to go far enough back. Yeah, brother. You know what I'm saying, right? I'm trying to go far enough back when Jake wasn't talking about killing each other. So y'all can't identify with that kind of rap, maybe. But when I came up, rap was about flossing, man. Rap was about dropping your pedigree. Rap, it was about, I got this, and at the same time showing that you were well read. That you were or travel, or your imagination. This cat, Dana Dane and his Cinderfella. Everything was about making these cats seem more than what they were. Brother, the point I'm making is what? Is that in some form of fashion, right now, cats is what? Preparing for an idolatrous fest called the Super Bowl. That's all. The idea of worshiping, the idea of glorifying, that's what it is. You're glorifying a cat. Somebody handed him the ball and the nigga just outran everybody.
He gets the trophy too.
He gets a piece of metal, Lock. He gets a piece of metal. He gets a damn idol that looked like what he was looking like when he was shooing cats off of him. Or whatever, that's the high, you know what I'm saying? That's why I said a perpetual seed. And the perpetual seed is ubiquitous and it's subtle. It's everywhere, but nowhere because you ain't looking. You don't realize that that's what it is. It's in the girl's butt when she's standing in the mirror, pulling the thing so tight, she's making sure, okay, yeah, all right. Why? Because she knows that men worship that figure. So therefore, she's an idol. But she worships the power that she has over men because of her figure. So she idolizes her own self. Then we got the ones that appear in movies, the cream of the crop. They all got to have that box fucking head and chiseled jaw, right? That's the reality of it. That prototype is an idol because that's what Hollywood be looking for. Let's be real, y'all. That's why I'm trying to give it to you why the scriptures call that idea a perpetual seed. It won't go away now. The concept of glorifying and recognizing and overcompensating people for doing nothing but refusing to grow up. What do you think it is? You got 35-year-old men out there. I was out there 9 years. I listened to an interview with Larry Bird. This is way back in the day. Like I said, everything I'm gonna be referencing, y'all, is gonna be some old stuff. So Larry Bird was on some talk show talking about he be out there throwing free shots. He be done throwing 1,000 free shots. Boom, free throws, jump shots, and stuff like that. And he said, and just when he finally got to 1,000, he'd be ready to quit. And what did he say? He said he realized Magic was over there throwing 3,000. So he'd get back out there. Magic Johnson was his nemesis. But this dude was simply compensated for being able to play a game, man. He was overcompensated. And that overcompensation is the form in which he was what? Those are offerings. That was the form in which he was worshipped. And those are the gifts that he received, the endorsements. Nigga, get some shoes named after. I'm trying to, when they say perpetual seed, all I gotta do is sit back and open your mind and see that if it ain't praising the Most High, if it ain't serving their Creator, 9 times out of 10, if it's receiving recognition, it's idolatry. That's all it is to it. This nigga get paid millions of dollars for doing what we did as kids, and that's playing. We're pretending like we're Batman. We're pretending like niggas in front of. I guess if you're making $1 million, you don't feel stupid in front of a green screen doing this. Like you flying. Nigga ain't flying. It's not flying, and if he gets shot, he's going down. He's standing up here like this, bullets bouncing off. Nigga, that's not real. He's pretending. He's doing what we did 3 and 4 years old. I got you. Whatever. I'm Superman. You playing cowboy, I'm a super cowboy man. Make the rules of best speak up. That's what they do. They get compensated and they get offerings. And then they get promoted. They get their little bitty idol called an Oscar. So this is a seed that once it was planted in Adam's mind, it haven't gone anywhere. All it's doing is what? It's morphing. It's metamorphosizing. It's taking on different forms. And each time more what? More undetected. Each time less subtle, but every increasing in its ubiquitous, meaning all encompassing nature. That's what that seed was. And he's telling you, it wasn't the angels. Read that verse 19 one more time, Mark.
Verse 19 of 2nd Esdras, chapter 9. For then everyone obeyed, but now the manners of them which are created in this world that is made are corrupted by a perpetual seed.
So we went back and read last week that perpetual seed is idolatry, and that's what it's talking about. That idea of circumventing the Most High. Because that's what was, now I'm going to show you that. I'm going to show you. Let's go to, and then we're going to close it on that and move on forward. But go to Genesis chapter 3, Amiyatazar, and I want you to read, start off at verse 1. I'm going to show you what it was that Eve was beguiled. Let me use what the scriptures say. When Eve was beguiled, Eve was deceived into doing, and Adam, his weakness was exploited. Adam knew what he was doing. You got it on me, Ekazan?
Yeah.
Go ahead and read it. Genesis chapter 3, verse 1.
Genesis chapter 3, verse 1. Now the serpent was more subtle than any beast of the field which the Lord power had made.
That means non-detected. When it said subtle, that means a person's motive. You ain't sure where they're coming from. Where you getting at? What's your angle? What are you trying to do? What's your point? What's your motive? He wasn't being clear on that. Go ahead.
And he said unto the woman, Yea, have the Most High said, Ye shall not eat of every tree of the garden? And the woman said unto the serpent, We may eat of the fruit of the trees of the garden, but of the fruit of the tree which is in the midst of the garden, the Most High have said, You shall not eat of it, neither shall ye touch it, lest ye die.
So she's showing that she's fully aware of what's prohibited. She's fully aware of right and wrong. Read on down.
Verse 4. And the serpent said unto the woman, Ye shall not surely die. For the Most High doth know that in the day ye eat thereof, then your eyes shall be opened,
now,
and ye shall be.
Go ahead.
And ye shall be as gods, knowing good.
Go ahead.
Ye shall be as gods, knowing good and evil.
Now, What was he offering her? Because she went back and took the same thing to Adam, and he accepted it. He was off. Yes, my water.
Well, I was gonna answer what you was gonna say, the question.
Okay. Well, what was he offering?
Recognition.
No, brother. Let me say this. Yes, but that is what me said. I shouldn't say no so fast because that's not what it is. That would be a byproduct of what he was offering her. Yeah, brother.
Immortality?
They were already immortal. What he's offering her is getting ready to get her ass killed. Go on, the brother in the back just raised his hand. Go ahead, brother. Say that again. Yes, but like I said, that's just like recognition. It's a byproduct of what he was offering. He was offering her what the Most High didn't give her. He was offering her what the Most High gave Adam. That's why it's the same thing. He was offering her authority over everything. What do you think the term? I'm gonna prove what the term God is. Let me show you this. All right. Go to Exodus chapter 22 and read verse 28. This is what he was offering. Now we're going to end up coming back to this verse again in a different application. But I want to show you when he said he know that you will be like gods. This is what he was offering her. Go ahead.
Exodus chapter 22 and verse 28. Thou shalt not revile the gods, nor curse the ruler of thy people.
Because the rulers of us are called gods, and Christ confirmed that.
It was a little glitch. Can you say that one more time?
What part? Brother said from the time that you said shalom 30 minutes ago. No, what's that?
My bad. Verse 28.
Okay, yeah, read it. Read it again. Exodus chapter 22 and verse 28.
Thou shalt not revile the gods, nor curse the ruler of thy people.
That means you're not supposed to be out there saying evil things about your leaders. You know, they'd be like, F the president, all that type of stuff. You're supposed to do that. But I want you to see the word God's how it's used. Talking about rulers, like in the authorities. And this is what he's offering Eve, because Adam already had it. What he was offering Eve was what the Most High didn't create her for. And that's a whole different topic. We'll get into that. But the woman is not made in the Most High's image. We are. And the scriptures tell you that in the New Testament, that Adam is the image and the glory of the Most High, while the woman is our glory. She's not even our image. The scriptures say she was what? She was made to be a helpmate sufficient, meet, meaning adequate or appropriate for us. What does that mean? Was she immortal? Yes, because that's what we were. But she wasn't the authority. So he's offering her something that what? That isn't created for her, that she's not created for, and she took back that to Adam. Adam literally, that's why when you read the Josephus, it describes what he did was being weak to his woman. He wasn't put in to compromise with her.
You know, and you know she didn't.
Huh?
You know she didn't go back to him and drop it the way Satan dropped it
No,
on
let
her.
me say this. I'm gonna tell you what she did. See that? Now you're getting it, and that's why I use the term circumvent. The way she presented it to Adam was that what you guys be having to go through out there with other brothers in camps, it don't have to be this hard. Because why? Because what she would see, if what Satan offered her, Adam already had it. We already read it last week. The Most High created man to be immortal. He gave him dominion. That's the ruler. He gave him dominion. That's in there. That's in Genesis chapter 1, and then it's confirmed again in Hebrews chapter 1. Just what it says. And he was made just a little lower than the angels. So, in other words, this is the point I'm making. That's how that perpetual seed went into action. It was about circumventing. When I say circumventing, that means there's something that you have access to, but you have to do it this way. And then someone else comes and says, no, you can get the same thing like this. That's what Satan did. And it don't have to be that much. That's what Satan did. And so people got benefits. Now, if you think I'm lying about that, that's in Jeremiah chapter 44. Anybody ever read about go there on me at this? I want you to find the verse where Jeremiah tells the people about stop worshiping, and this is about idolatry, to stop worshiping Tammuz and crying for the Queen of Heaven and all that. I'm gonna get it all. I'll tell you what verse I want you to start off at. And so you guys see this is about getting into the meat of the scriptures. It's not just running over, because the scriptures tell you for itself all the things that happen. You just got to find where it is. So
verse 15.
Let me get there. Jeremiah chapter 44, right? And verse 15.
Yeah.
Let me get there.
To like 18 or 19.
Yeah, because they like straight up. Hold on. Here we go. That's it. I'm gonna get this. It's thank you. It's Jeremiah chapter 44, and I want you to start off at verse 15. Now I'm gonna show you what happened. What we're getting ready to read is Jeremiah confronting the men behind what? Their women in secret places worshiping Ashtaroth, worshiping the goddess of fertility and her son Tammuz. Now we start off at verse 15. Now, why are we going here? We're going here to demonstrate what the concept of circumvention is, right? Meaning there's something that you got access to, and instead of doing it and acquiring that something the way it was intended for you to acquire it, you try to acquire that or something similar to it by another but easier means. Something not as costly to you, something not as demanding to you. So start off at verse 15.
Jeremiah chapter 44 and verse 15. Then all the men which knew that their wives had burned incense unto other gods, and all the women that stood by, a great multitude, even all the people that dwelt in the land of Egypt, in Pathros, answered Jeremiah, saying.
Now, what is this? The beginning of the verse, Jeremiah is writing on them about, and this was Israel. Pathros is the Israelite word. It was the Israelite name for the land of Goshen. It's northern Egypt that in the scriptures is called Lower Egypt, right? On the map, you see the old Egypt thing. You see the southern part of Egypt is called Upper Egypt, and the northern part of Egypt is called Lower Egypt. And Pathros dwelt in Lower or Northern Egypt, and that was the region of Goshen. We knew that. That was the land that we were born in as a nation, right? So he's like, you guys are down here, all this idolatry. He's going at the men. The women, their wives are standing by, and all the multitude. Now listen to how they answer him. Go ahead.
Verse 16. As for the word that thou hast spoken unto us in the name of the Lord, we will not hearken unto thee.
Nigga, you could go pound sand, Jeremiah. You could go kick rocks, and they'll tell you, we know you sent it from the Lord, but we ain't trying to hear that. That's what they told him. We're going to hearken to you. Go ahead.
Verse 17. But we will certainly do whatsoever thing goeth forth out of our own mouth, to burn incense unto the Queen of Heaven, and to pour out drink offerings unto her. As we have done, we and our fathers, our kings, and our princes in the cities of Judah and in the streets of Jerusalem. For then had we plenty of victuals, and were well, and saw no evil.
See, listen to what they're saying. As long as we worship the Queen of Heaven, nothing bad happens to us. As long as we worship the Queen of Heaven, then we have plenty of victuals and necessities, all the things you need. So what are they doing this for? They're doing it for the benefit that Satan gives them through honoring that idol. But it's not like they didn't have that thing. The Most High promised the same thing in Deuteronomy chapter what? In Deuteronomy chapter 28, verses 1 through 14, he promised us that we have plenty, that our storehouses will be full, right? But guess what? We didn't want to do it his way, because doing it the other way was easier. But when we didn't do it the other way, when we do it the Most High's way, and we don't do it to his liking, what happens? We get punished. That's what it means when we saw no evil. That means we always catch hell. It's because you won't do it the way he wants it. But when they go to honor the other idols, what happens? He said that we suffer no evil. Because people, this is another verse that shows you that Satan rewards also. Satan rewards people for doing it wrong. And what? And like you said, you ain't got to get out there and be all righteous. And all you got to do is get out there. If you're a man, you got to get out there and open your anus, let another man in you. You got to go ahead and swallow him all the way down to his damn scrotum. Listen, what did all these cats, Denzel Washington, you know the hottest, the ones who's always creating or starring in those box office smash hits. I don't care what you say, I don't care who it is. They're more than compromised. I don't care who it is. You know, when not this, see that nigga. Every time I see him in some clip, he's always trying, mouth turned down, trying to look all like he's wise and tell people about God. Shut the fuck up, nigga. Because if you really was about the Lord, your ass would be right next to me, broke, waiting for the kingdom to come. That's what you would be doing. Will Smith, right? Running around here, got a little 4-foot bald-headed slave master called his wife. Be real. And his twisted ass children. Stop me when I'm lying. Stop me when I'm lying. Yeah, Lawrence Fishburne's daughter is a porn star. Imagine him.
That's mad.
Not the movie, but this interview. Listen, you know what I mean? I can't imagine anything. Does anything have sex with Lawrence Fishburne's face? But she literally wanted to be famous, and guess who she cited in doing that? Kim Kardashian. What was it about? People been having sex and doing all this stuff since the dawn of time. What is it about these people? It's because they do it and they're satanic and they're used as examples to promote people to alter and pattern their lifestyle after. That's why they receive goods. Because that was Satan want. Satan don't just want you worshiping him. He wants you worshiping him and also a recruiter for other people. Jay-Z, every time you try to Jay-Z run around here, he got a he's like he's always in some type of geometry, making pyramids and stuff with his hands. And his whore-ass wife, if that's really his wife, Beyonce, and that little ugly child of theirs. Be real, it just looked too much like her daddy. She could have been more on the mama side aesthetically. I just tell you the truth, man. People used to see how beautiful my kids would be like, they gotta be adopted. The Lord is good. It just goes to show that he's merciful. Right? I wouldn't condemn nobody looking like my ass, not for too long. So the issue is these people they don't just get benefits for doing evil, they get benefits for doing evil and promoting it. And that's what Adam was guilty of. That was that perpetual seed. So they're telling us what happened. Because the Most High won't bless us like we want to, we're serving the Queen of Heaven, and we don't catch all the evil that we do when we serve the Lord. So, we try to hear what you say about the Heavenly Father. That's what he was offering her. Satan was offering Eve what? What Adam's position. And how does she sell it to Adam? It don't have to be this hard. It don't have to be this demanding. And as you see, the men are following their women. Let's read on down. Read that verse again. Verse 18.
Jeremiah 44, verse 18. But since we left off to burn incense to the Queen of Heaven and to pour out drink offerings unto her, we have wanted all things.
Listen, minds have been altered. It says every time we try to obey the Lord, ever since we stopped pouring out, or basically stop worshiping the Queen of Heaven, we catching hell. Because what was the condition? Who knows what? Let's take that verse and examine it. Verse 18, read it.
Verse 18. But since we left off to burn incense to the Queen of Heaven and to pour out drink offerings unto her, we have wanted all things and have been consumed by the sword and by the famine.
Wanted means we have lacked for all things. Now, who knows why? What condition, when they stop doing that, what condition clearly they weren't fulfilling? Who knows? Y'all got to know Deuteronomy. These are the conditions under which we live. There is a disposition. There is a mental, spiritual, intellectual disposition that the Most High wants us to be in while we serve him. And guess what it's
Willingly.
called? Say that again.
Willingly.
Willingly. He wants us to be, he said, joyfulness of heart. Go to the verse. I'm going to show you. Go to real quick with this. Go to Deuteronomy chapter 28. Deuteronomy chapter 28, and I'll find the verse real quick. If you find it first on me, you have to let me know.
Mhm.
You know what I'm referring to, right? Because thou servest not the Lord, thy heart with joyfulness.
Yeah.
47.
Say that again.
27.
It's verse 47.
Uh,
Verse 47 and 48.
Deuteronomy 28 and verse 47. Because thou servest not the Lord, thy power, with joyfulness and with gladness of heart, for the abundance of all things.
So that's not just telling us that we got to serve him. That's showing us what we're supposed to be in the spirit of being glad, Lord. This is what? The spirit of the end. It's the chore. It's too tedious, too burdensome. This is too cumbersome to have to do all of these things.
Wow.
Although which means they stopped worshiping the Queen of Heaven, but they still weren't worshiping the Most High. To do one doesn't mean automatically that you're doing the other. To stop worshiping the Queen of Heaven doesn't mean that they went and started following the laws. And if it did, it doesn't mean that they did it in the fashion that was adequate to the Most High's pleasing, right? With joyfulness of heart, glad to have been chosen to be his people. Glad
Hey, that's scary.
to get those holy oracles. Glad to have been what? Have something come from heaven and reach down and establish order and discipline and diligence. Glad to see what I have tools now to properly raise my children and to form and force my women into being able to think without me having to be there.
Mm.
They weren't in the spirit. This was like a ball and chain to them. You gonna make a point on the exercise?
Yeah, that's quite scary because that still applies to us to this day, you know, in terms of like brothers. Yeah. Yeah, like brothers and sisters, you know, complaining about the dynamic that Most High's got us in, how hard the work is, how many hours we've got to be working, never have any time. You know what I'm saying, to do stuff. We're not doing it joyfully. We're not doing it, you know, with a willingness of heart. That's very applicable to this day.
Listen now, it's been applicable since the time of Adam. Remember, once that seed this is the thing that won't go away. You guys are doing your Sabbath studies. So you are what? You guys are chronicling. You guys came all the way from Deuteronomy, from the beginning all the way to 12. You can see King. You guys going through Kings and Chronicles simultaneously. So you see, there's more evil than good in our history. You see, the kings that are evil outweigh and eclipse those that are good. There's never been a time when we wasn't evil. Okay, let's go back to Jeremiah, and then we're gonna get back on course. Go ahead, I'm gonna get to verse 18 and 19. Done.
Jeremiah chapter 44, verse 18. But since we left off to burn incense to the Queen of Heaven and to pour out drink offerings unto her, we have wanted all things and have been consumed by the sword and by the famine. And when we burned incense to the Queen of Heaven and poured out drink offerings unto her, did we make her cakes to worship her and pour out drink offerings unto her without our men?
So listen to what they're saying. The women are speaking now. The women are like, listen, every time we do it the Lord's way, it don't work out for us. But whenever we do it the Queen of Heaven's way, and we do it and we get what we want, are not our men there? What are they showing us? That the men were cow-tied, huh? Our men let us do this. Because why? That's that authority. Because now it's either, what is this verse showing us? The mentality. We don't have to go through as much to get the benefits when we serve the Queen of Heaven as we do when we serve the Lord, your God, Jeremiah. That's the reality of it. That's what they were being offered. and they came and dropped it to Jeremiah in the sense, or even Adam, in what? In the sense that it doesn't have to be that hard, because that makes sense. Adam would have said, "Woman, God." I wouldn't have been lying. All he would have been saying is, "I am your authority. I am your ruler. Now shut your ass up. I'll be in it when I get there. I'll be back when I get back, if I come back." Getting pissed off at that, but you know what? That's how he was supposed to roll. When you got a demon like that, you got to check that demon. You got to break it.
Yep.
Reason we got homes and try to break those demons, we're afraid of them leaving. A demon gone is a demon broken. You broke her.
Exactly.
She was made for that life.
Yeah.
That's the reality of it. Now,
That's
let's
true.
get back on track. Now, what was all of that about? Let me say this. All of that was about 2 Ezra chapter 9 and verse 19 and the effects of that perpetual seed. That's all. But all is stored, but the whole purpose where we went to 2 Ezra chapter 9, verses 18 and 19 was to show that in this phase of the Most High's work, and when the angels had been created, I'm coming to you, brother, but man not yet created, the angels did not disobey, and the disobedience didn't begin until those that were placed on the earth were there, and then they were the ones who were corrupted by a perpetual seed, the idea of being idolatry, circumventing the demands of the Most High. Yes, brother.
No, you already answered it. It was about circumventing.
Okay, beautiful. Thank you. So now, what are we doing next? We're going to feed the thought that's offered in verse 18. What did verse 18 serve to give us? It served to give us that the angels, actually the verse 18 in the beginning of verse 19. Read it again, Amayetas. Read it all the way up until the first line in verse 19.
Okay. 2 Ezra chapter 9 and verse 18. And now, when I prepared the world, which was not yet made, even for them to dwell in that now live, no man spake against me. For then everyone obeyed.
So all that's saying is man was not yet created and the angels obeyed. Go ahead.
But now the manners of them which are created in this world that is made are corrupted by a perpetual seed, and by a law which is unsearchable rid themselves.
All right, so all that's saying is what? The angels didn't obey, man did. Now let's go and show, let's feed the thought of the angels not disobeying. Let's go to Ecclesiastes chapter 39, right? I think it's 39. It's going to be 39 or 38. It's going to be 39 beginning at verse 20. So we're back on what? We're back to examining the celestial sons of the Most High, the angelic beings, right? Go ahead, verse 28.
Verse what? 21?
No,
28.
chapter 39, starting off at verse 28.
Okay. Ecclesiasticus in the Apocrypha, chapter 39 and verse 28. There be spirits that are created for vengeance.
Now stop right there. See, people read, let's crack this myth also, or this may be misunderstanding. This wouldn't go so far as a myth. But in the Bible, people think that when you read, or they're under the impression that when you read angels and spirits, you're talking about two different things. Angels are spirits. The Most High say he's a spirit. The angels, and we're going to read it. I'm going to show you. The angels are spirits. You got good spirits, good angels. You got evil spirits, evil angels. I'll show you that. All right? That's all in there, man. So here, he's telling us that there are spirits that are created for vengeance. But first, let's go and establish that these spirits are angels. So go from there. We're coming back here. We just want to make sure that we're not talking about something different. Because guess what we're really talking about here? We're talking about the celestial sons of God right here. And in this verse, they're called spirits. So when you go to Psalms, where's the first place that the first place that it is mentioned is in the book of Psalms. Go to Psalms 104. Psalm 104, verses 1 through 4. And then we're going to read where it is reiterated in Hebrews chapter 1.
Psalms 104, verse 1. Bless the Lord, O my soul. O Lord, my power, thou art very great. Thou art clothed with honor and majesty, who coverest thyself with light as with a
So
garment.
he's showing, now he's talking about all of these qualities of the Most High. You're great, you're magnificent. You cover yourself with light. Go ahead.
Who stretchest out the heavens like a curtain, who
Continue.
layeth the beams of his chambers in the waters,
Go ahead.
who maketh the clouds his chariot, who walketh upon the wings of the wind,
Mm.
who maketh his angels spirits,
Ha! He maketh his angels spirits. Go ahead.
his ministers a flaming fire.
Now, that's what he's going to tell us in Ecclesiastes. He's going to say there's spirits, creative inventions, and then he's going to go through all the different forms in which these angels become spirits and enter into these things to serve out the vengeance of the Most High. But before we do that, let's go read in Hebrews chapter 1, verses 5 through 7. Now, when you read Hebrews chapter 1, it's twofold because it's talking about Adam and it's talking about Christ, which Adam is the first presentation that spirit that Christ made. But what this chapter is designed to do, what the message of chapter 1 is, once it gets through the introduction, is letting us know the differences in Christ and all the other angels. So it'll go through verses and it'll say, at what time did the Most High ever say to any angel this? And at what time did he tell any other angel, thou art my begotten son? And at what time did he ever tell the other angels, sit here at my right hand till I make your enemies your footstool? In other words, this chapter is designed to show you that Christ is on a level different than the angels. Why? Because Christ made the angels. You got to remember that. The Most High spoke Christ into existence. And then however Christ did it, he's the one who is credited in Hebrews chapter 1 and in Colossians chapter 1 to have what? Created everything outside of the Most High. So you're going to specify, you're going to read it starting at verse 5. I mean, you have to Hebrews chapter 1 and verse 5.
Hebrews chapter 1 and verse 5. For unto which of the angels said he at any time, thou art my son?
So when did Christ, hold on, this is beautiful. Why? Because he's showing you they're the sons of the Most High, but he's talking about in a different capacity of Christ. Read on down. Read it again from the top.
Verse 5 from the top. For unto which of the angels said he at any time, thou art my son? This day have I begotten thee.
Now, what does that mean? He's saying there was never a time in the spiritual world where the Most High referred to any of the other angels as having been his begotten son. You know why? He's telling you, because they don't come from him in the sense that Christ. Remember what begotten is. And Abraham begot Isaac. Isaac begot Jacob, right? And Esau begot Judah and his 12 brothers. That's talking about something produced from your essence. The essence through which we produce is our loins. We call it in modern times our reproductive system. And we put a seed, like Sam Cooke is trying to do, right? We put a seed in that woman, and what happened? And it come to fruition. But how come it doesn't say, and Sarah begat? Because the baby don't come from Sarah. Sarah housed the baby and fed it. Sarah gave half of the baby its, quote, its physiological makeup, right? Its physiological constitution. In other words, those chromosomes, the parent, the child is half and half biologically, physiologically of what the mother and father is. But he comes from the tree of the father. That's the seed. Sarah is the earth. Abraham is the tree that produced the seed. So that's what, and now that's physical term. Now think of that when you think of Christ and the Most High, because the angels come from however Christ made them. You got to remember that. So he's not telling them that they're not sons. He's telling them that you are not the quality. You are not the, how can we put it? I won't even say quality, but that word could be used. Because the Most High tells you, he finds folly in his angels. He accuses angels of folly. Folly is foolish, not wicked. foolishness. But Christ is perfect because Christ is what? Christ is the exact image and everything of him. He don't charge Christ with no foolishness. You got to know your book. So he's saying this day, he said there was never another spirit, another angel that was categorized like the Most High as being that from the Most High himself. Go ahead, I'll read on down.
And again, I will be to him a father, and he shall be to me a son.
Now, what is he quoting there? He's quoting what the prophet was sent to tell David. Was it Nathan? Right? 2 Samuel chapter 7 to chapter 5, one of them chapters, chapter 6, where David desired to build a house for the Most High. And Nathan said, the Lord is with thee, go do all that's in their heart. And then the Most High woke Nathan up and said, no, you got to go back and tell David this. And he told Nathan to tell David that your son, who come from your loins, is going to be my what? Is going to be, is going to build my house. He shall be my son, and I will be his father. This is called because it's showing you. This was quoted about Solomon, but he was telling us it's talking about Christ. And that's what distinguishes Christ. In this direct way, it's letting us know in this verse that Solomon was Christ. Because we know that's what was, if you know the scriptures, that is Paul citing what Nathan the prophet was sent to tell David concerning building the temple. Read it again, Amayetazar.
Verse 5 from the top. For unto which of the angels said he at any time, thou art my son, this day have I begotten thee.
Go ahead.
And again, I will be to him a father, and he shall be to me a son.
Go ahead.
And again, when he bringeth in the firstborn, when he bringeth in the first begotten into the world, he saith, and let all the angels of the Most High worship him.
Now, once the first begotten of the Most High was brought into the world, this is talking about what happened when the angels heard when the pastor, what do you call them? The shepherds heard the angels singing at the birth of Christ. It's making reference to that moment when the begotten of the Most High was brought into the world. Go ahead.
Verse 7. And of the angels.
In other words, there's never been another angel, there's never been another spirit who received a reception like Christ did simply at when he made his earthly appearance. Go ahead.
Verse 7. And of the angels he saith.
Now listen, now he's telling you, this is what he says about the angels. What he just got through telling us is what the Most High sentiments are expressed to be toward Christ, his begotten son. But how does the Most High express his sentiments toward the angels? Go ahead.
Who maketh his angel spirits and his ministers a flame of fire.
Now, where did we just read that? We just read that as Psalms 104 and specifically verse 4. You understand? Now, why are we doing that? We went there just to show that what? That the spirits, the angels are the spirits that's being spoken of. And these are the sons of the Most High. But why do we go to Ecclesiastes chapter 39 to find out that these spirits do not transgress the Most High's commandment? Like the mythical legend has it, right? Somebody just didn't like it. One of them spirits said, you know what, F this, we're not taking it anymore. I guess this nigga unionized the angels and had a revolt. You know what I'm saying? We're done. Go ahead, we don't go back to Ecclesiastes chapter 39 and read that from verse 28 again. So why was that important? Because here we know we're talking about angels now. Go ahead.
Ecclesiasticus in the Apocrypha, chapter 39 and verse 28. There be spirits that are created for vengeance, which in their fury lay on sore strokes.
That means when they come in that spirit of fury, when it says sore strokes, that means they are unmerciful because they've been sent to execute vengeance. Go ahead. That's why you be hearing people screaming, oh, give you anything, you'll do anything to me, not my kids. And they go right for them kids. Not the baby. Yes, the baby, nigga. That guy, he looks like a baby to you. He really like a little man in the spirit, right? There, y'all seen that movie, Little Man? He's look like a baby. That nigga's a prisoner. He's a hardened murderer in a previous life. His little Barabbas then come back and now he's got a debt to pay. That's why the scriptures say, shall there be evil done in the city that the Lord have not done? There's no evil on the earth that can be attributed to anyone other than the Heavenly Father. The issue is who he uses to execute the evil. And that's where Satan comes in. And then Satan has all of his angels under him, the spiritual demon. And that's what we're going to read. Go ahead, Amayetazar, read on down.
In the time of destruction, they pour out their force and appease the wrath of him that made them.
Appease means to satisfy, y'all, to satiate. That means the Most High be angry. And then guess what? Amayetazar, he'll have a volcanic, the last devastating volcanic thing that we had down here, Amayetazar, 2018 or 2019, where it tore up, listen up, everywhere around here, literally. I can't tell you for how many months afterward, it looked like, what's that movie? It looked like, the life was like the color of the book of Eli. It was just gray. Ashes, but I injured myself cleaning all the ashes off my cars. But normally, Amayetazar, when the volcano blows, volcano fuego, when it blows, there's a side on the crater where it always releases out toward like the direction of its squinting. So it never really messes with nobody. But this time around, it literally blew a crater out the side and knocked out all of Alotenango and everything from there toward San Miguel Dueñas. So you remember the country club and all that spa and stuff that was down there toward there? Brother, everything got messed up. People got instantly, like Pompeii, like the volcano Mount Vesuvius that destroyed Pompeii, but that shit happened here. And we watched live footage of people thinking it was going to be an average volcanic thing, a volcanic eruption. Like Amayetza, we would come out one night, we came out, I'll never forget, out of work. And by the time we got from the corner to Parque Central, remember how we saw everybody was like in a daze looking at the sky? And then we turned around and everybody was being mesmerized by the volcano. And we got caught right out. I was like, man, the Most High is bad, but it was safe. Everybody thought it was going to be like that day. So everybody went out there with their cameras. And they all got, they got bodies that are completely carbonized with shit like this on the ground. Whole families. They got incinerated and turned to carbon by that pyroclastic flow. It was the most amazing, I ain't gonna lie, it was the most amazing thing to see from TV. Yeah, this is I was watching it from. And so, but here's the thing. That was the Most High's anger. That's what he said. They lay on sore strokes and things like that. You gotta remember this. Things like that appease the wrath of the Heavenly Father. Who remembers the earthquake about 2004? I think it was 2004, 2005. No, it was definitely 2004. A couple of days before or after Christmas, and it caused a tsunami in the Indian Ocean, and all the lands, all the islands, Australia, the different countries of Africa, India, that have shores to the Indian Ocean, it ended up killing like about 200,000 to 400,000 people. Do you guys remember that?
No, that was at that one in Indonesia.
Exactly.
It traveled 600 miles an hour.
Exactly.
It swallowed up people 3,000 miles away on the coast of Madagascar.
Exactly.
Wow.
But that shit was, listen now, that's how the Most High have to send them angels, and that's how they roll. Those are the ones that he's talking about. He's talking about watching videos of Fukushima and that water. It looked like it was never going to stop coming. Y'all remember that? In an earthquake in 2011? But I was sitting up watching this modern times, like that's just technology. People from high-ass roofs and the water's still creeping up. That's the Heavenly Father, y'all. And those are his angels. Those are his celestial sons. Read on down, Amayetazar. What you got? You got an image for us or something?
Yeah.
Amayetazar be coming on time with that. Listen up. That's here. And that's the road, Amayetazar. That's coming from San Miguel Dueñas. Remember the route we used to take to go to the Finca?
Yeah.
That's that, brother. Who'd have thought? And I'll never forget it, man. My kids are like, it's raining. came on the territory. Everybody get your ass in the house. Brother, and we went over there, you couldn't see nothing. All you saw was this. Put that back up there.
Oh, okay. I was gonna do
Those
another
are
one.
angels, those are spirits. All you saw was that. Was you gonna put something else up? I want you to go to the one to the right near the bottom.
I've got a better one.
Okay, cool. But I thought I'd never live to see that day. I was like, and we used to live right there. Look at that. This is what I had to clean up off my damn car. 2 of them. That's no joke, and it was like that for like 3 or 4 months after. Everywhere you went. Amayetazar, the city. You know how far San Cristobal, where you used to live, is at, right?
Yeah.
Okay, that shit was way all the way up, in La Carretera de El Salvador. Let's see what we got here.
That's the other one.
Okay. Yep. But I said, man, I lived through. I saw it. I was like, damn, brother. All right, thank you, man. You bringing up another one?
Nah.
Okay, good. All right. So that's what he's talking about. Now remember, he said these spirits, these angels, these celestial beings, when they're given the orders, they appease the wrath. That's stuff those are the things that satisfy the Heavenly Father. Go ahead.
That's 28 from the top. No, that's 29 now.
29.
Fire and hail.
What are we just reading in Psalm 104? What are we just reading in Hebrews chapter 1, verse 5 through 7? That maketh his angels what? Spirits and his ministers a flame of fire. And so the Most High, brother, things be happening. I heard a couple of months, well, maybe sometime near the summer of last year, how some apartment building, up in New York, burnt up about 22 people.
Wow.
Babies and stuff included. That's how the Most High do it. Fire, go ahead.
Fire and hail and famine and death. All these were created for vengeance.
Mm-hmm.
Teeth of wild beasts.
Just about 2 weeks ago, some a polar bear destroyed, killed a woman and her son. Just came to town, killed him, and took off. That was it. Didn't eat him. Yes, Dawiyah.
Yeah, in Houston, Texas, pack of dogs ate a man. And they just found his body.
That happens a lot.
Say that again.
Some wild dogs in the neighborhood in Houston, dinner ate a man alive, bro.
No, as I said, that happens a lot. Nigga in Africa, not in Houston.
In England.
I hope that shit don't happen every day in Houston, brother.
No, in England, you hear about dogs always attacking like kids and killing kids. That's what happened in America.
Well, yeah, it does, but I mean, come on, y'all have seen them videos of them West Africans walking around with hyenas and shit. But I'm just saying, some places the thing is like this. It's a rare thing. It happens, and I guess you could say it happens often, but it is not often enough to be considered like a norm. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But no matter when and where it happens, we're reading who's doing it.
Yeah.
That's the Most High, huh?
Yeah.
You guys, back in the day when the whole pit bull craze, y'all from the 70s. I'll go way back to the 60s. They were making dogs. First, it was rented. It was collies and German shepherds, right? And they weren't dangerous. They never were presented as dangerous. Then, come the 70s, the Doberman Pinscher was the one, right? And then the mid 70s, the Rottweiler. About against the Germans, I guess. The Rottweiler, because those were the Satan's hellhounds, the Damien, the Omen, right? And then come the 80s on up, it's the pit bull, right? The pit bull and those bull-oriented dogs. But I'm going to tell you something, Mark. You can get them Chihuahuas and if the Most High put a spit on the Chihuahua and eat your ass up.
Chihuahua.
You can laugh all you want to. And you ever see somebody get attacked by a cat? No joke, huh? You can't catch him. You can't get him. You don't have the reflexes to get off a cat like you could a dog. A dog is dull concerning reflex. That cat all over your ass. Just ridiculous. And the Most High have cats attack. I've seen a cat attack a person one time and they ended up having to get rabies shots. Vicious, like this is any animals. Go ahead, read on down.
Verse 30 from the top. Teeth of wild beasts and scorpions, serpents, and the sword, punishing the wicked to destruction.
Go ahead. Now listen, we're still now. Why did he mention all of those things? Because he's letting us know those are the things, the instruments in which the spirits what convert and enter into. Literally, a possessed dog, possessed snake. Go ahead.
They shall rejoice in his commandments, and they shall be ready upon earth when need is.
And this is what you guys need to know. It says they rejoice at the Most High's commandment, and it says they're in the earth. Now I can prove that. We're gonna go there next and show you Job. They're already here. You have certain angels whose presence are a permanency in the celestial realm, and then you have those whose residence is on earth, and they go back to report to the Most High. That's what we're going to read about in the book of Job. This is Satan's realm. He goes there to make his reports, and he comes back home. And he tells Christ that. He said, all of this is mine, for it was given to me. Right? Luke chapter 4, and to whomsoever I will, I give it. But you got to worship me. You got to bow down and worship me. You get some of this. Christ was like, nigga, this is already mine. This is just your time. What are you talking about? I mean, this ain't even yours, nigga. You're renting, right? Your lease is, you got a little bit more time on your lease, but then your time is up. And our people can't see that. That everything that Esau could offer is much. It's nothing compared to what the Most High got reserved all of his saints are.
That's deep. So Satan tried to do to Yahushua what he did to Eve and Adam.
Exactly. Hold on. He tried to do to Yahushua what he tried to do to Yahushua as Adam.
Yeah.
Because he know Christ was this time, he came to what? To undo himself, Christ, what he had done as Adam. As Adam, he ushered all of those that would come of him to death. But as Christ, that's why the Most High referred to him as a quickening spirit. He came to offer us life and that everlasting. That's amazing. He came to what? To offer us what as Adam he forfeited. Now that's fair. He came to clean up his mess. That's all. That's another lesson. We're just reading these qualities of these spirits, of these angels that don't transgress the Most High's word. Go ahead and read it from verse 31 again.
Ecclesiasticus chapter 39 and verse 31. They shall rejoice in his commandments, and they shall be ready upon earth when need is. And when their time is come, they shall not transgress his word.
Yes, these are not the angels these angels weren't cast out. Their designation is to be here. Now let's go get a case of this, right? Let's go read an example in Job chapter 1. Job chapter 1, we're gonna read the whole chapter. Chapter 1, and yes, the whole chapter. So we're gonna start off with verse 1. Let me just take a quick break, use the restroom, and come back on me. You wrap to them.
I'm going to.
They can listen to my toilet flush. I'll be right back, y'all.
Sure. What's going on, Abiyatzar? How you doing, brother?
Hey, I'm good, bro. Hey, I started watching all of your YouTube videos from like 3 years ago.
Oh man, has it been that long?
Yeah, because you guys on your channel, you started with there was two videos that you uploaded, then all of them were like live streams.
Yeah.
So I started with the two, John 3:16, and the other one was the Most High Love the Whole World. And then so now I'm gonna watch all of your live stream videos. I'm gonna start from the very beginning. So today I watched the one on what was it? There was one with there was a sister talking at the end. I think the trial, something about the trial, I can't remember. So basically I tried to watch like I tried to dedicate 3 hours every morning to watch one of your videos. So
Hey,
my goal is to watch your whole channel.
That's what's up. That's what's up. I didn't realize it's been that long, but Adam's over here laughing and shit because Adam was watching that John 3:16. He was one of the first people to actually make a comment on John 3:16.
Okay.
It was one of the very first comments on the very first show that we ever did.
Wow.
And now you're up in the room. Yeah, that's why I'm here. That's why.
They be some good classes, man. I've been enjoying them. I've been enjoying them.
Did 2 classes that we disappeared for a little while.
That's funny. But yeah, now because I was like, because initially I was like, where are all the videos? Because I think I was watching one of your recent Sabbath classes, and Darryl Yard, he was saying to the congregation that if they watch all the Sabbath classes, they've literally got the whole Bible. Do you know what I'm saying? So I said, cool. I said, let me watch all of these videos there from the beginning. So I went into the channel. I'm like, where are these videos? I can only see 2. Do you know what I'm saying? I'm like, what? So I thought, let me look at some of the other categories. So I went to live, and I'm scrolling, and you just keep going and keep going. And I'm like, when does it end? Like, so many videos. And
Hey,
so
listen,
I said,
brother, that's how it's supposed to be. That's how it's supposed to be, you know?
Yeah.
Nah.
I try to watch watch one of their videos every morning. So I get up at like 6, and I spend like 3 hours just watching their videos. And I was like, yeah, I've been enjoying them.
So what? All praise to the Most High.
Yeah, man, and that feeds your spirit, and that says the Most High loves it when we spend that. That's how he talks to us.
Yeah.
That's how Christ speaks to us from the Most High. It's through this word. And
Yeah.
that's what the talks about and reposing ourselves with her, talking about wisdom.
Honestly, that's all. Literally, that's because what I do, I spend, like I said, I wake up at 6, I spend like 3 hours watching their videos, and then when I'm going to the gym, I'm watching their most recent Sabbath videos. Do you know what I'm saying? So I'm just constantly like just hearing the word. Then obviously we have class in the evening. Do you know what I'm saying? It's, as you said, you just got to immerse yourself in the scriptures. Yeah. You know, and it's a pleasure.
All right. Okay, we ready to go?
Yeah.
Okay, so we're going to the book of Job now. Now, what are we doing? We're getting examples of what we've read. We're getting examples of the celestial sons of the Most High, right? The celestial sons of God and their dynamic here and in the earth, between here and our existence, right? The earth and the actual terrestrial realm, the celestial realm, excuse me. Go ahead, I'm the Job chapter 1 and start off in verse 1.
Job chapter 1 and verse 1. There was a man in the land of Oz whose name was Job, and that man was perfect and upright, and one that feared the Most High and eschewed evil. And there were born unto him 7 sons and 3 daughters. His substance also was 7,000 sheep and 3,000 camels and 500 yoke of oxen and 500 she asses and a very great
yoke of oxen. It could easily be a pair. I'm trying to see how the standard yoke of oxen would be a pair, I believe. But then you also had a configuration, depends on the type of the field that was being plowed. You had those that had 4, right? And it wasn't not exactly. You were making a gesture. Amiyapia, right? You want to explain it?
Yeah, there were one right in a single file line.
Right. And that's to do the plowing of ground that can't be, you can't, let's say if manpower were to do it, it would take like 12 times as long. So this dude was mad rich. Filthy. People like to say, I'll say mad rich, right? Filthy rich. That would be a person that got their riches through evil ways. Go ahead, I'll read on down.
And 500 she-asses and a very great household, so that this man was the greatest of all the men of the East. And his sons went and feasted in their houses, every one his day, and sent and called for their 3 sisters to eat and to drink with them.
So that means these 3 sisters' lives consisted of money, 7 days of the week, going from the eldest brother to the youngest brother's house to eat. Oh, what a life it must have been. Go ahead.
Verse 5. And it was so, when the days of their feasting were gone about, that Job sent and sanctified them, and rose up early in the morning, and offered burnt offerings according to the number of them all.
So that means he would have called them. He'd have to go through a process of what? Of sending up sacrifices for them, blessing them, asking the Most High to forgive them, for they may have, blasphemed during the time of their mirth, during their wine and drinking, and eating and feasting. Go ahead.
For Job said, it may be that my sons have sinned and cursed the Most High in their hearts. Thus did Job continually.
Now here we go. Verse 6.
Verse 6. Now there was a day when the sons of the Most High came to present themselves before the Lord, and Satan came also among them. So
what happens is people read this book and they think that the sons of the Most High, the sons of God, speaking in layman terms, right? In Genesis chapter 6, verses 1 through 4, whatever it is, that's speaking of the same group of the sons of God that's being spoken of here. And they are 2 groups. The sons of the Most High that are being spoken of in the book of Job are the actual celestial beings, right? Angelic beings, call them angels. The ones spoken of in Genesis chapter 6 were actually what? As Adam began to multiply, we began to go and deal with women from the other nations. And we read the repeat last time in class. We read what? We read 1 Kings chapter 11, where Solomon did the same thing that sons of Adam did. Same thing. And it resulted in idolatry. So here, these are the actual celestial beings, the angelic beings, the sons of the Most High. And it says Satan was there, which means Satan is the son. Who in our nation don't got an evil brother? Let's be real. My youngest one got put to death. My most High killed him when he was before he turned 19, 18 years old. Ow, killed him. My older brother was just as evil. And my 2 sisters actually. And I guess me too, but the Most High brought me, and I said, guess I know more about me than I do about them. It's coming from an evil ass brood, man. That's why we were orphans. We didn't deserve it. Anyway, that's a whole different story. Point is, I was just thinking about, I'm thinking about all the shit I did before I came to the truth. You know what, nigga, you deserve to be an orphan. Right? It's the truth. Truth, like you weren't going to listen to your parents anyway, because you didn't listen to your surrogate parents, your foster parents, and I didn't. But the Most High have His will, But these sons here are actually the angels, and Satan is included among them. Now, here's the hook. Check this out. Read on down. Read verse 6 again from the top, and then read on down.
Verse 6. Now there was a day when the sons of the Most High came to present themselves before the Lord, and Satan came also among them.
Go ahead.
And the Lord said unto Satan, whence comest thou?
How come he didn't say nothing about the other one? And why is his question? What he asked Satan is, where are you coming from, Satan? This is a casual conversation. There's no enmity there. There's no shock on behalf of the Heavenly Father. Like I said, who let this dude in? How did you get in here? I told you, Gabriel, you got to keep the windows closed. I want nothing like that. You know, guards, you know, to kick him out, right? Bouncers. He's there. Not read them down. I mean, that's verse 7 from the top.
Verse 7. And the Lord said unto Satan, Whence comest thou? Then Satan answered the Lord and said, From going to and fro in the earth, and from walking up and down in it.
Go ahead.
And the Lord said unto Satan, Hast thou considered my servant Job?
So check this out. So he said, while you were down there, did you check Job out? He's boasting on Job, not to Satan. So look at how the conversation is going as though the Lord expected him to show up. Let's do it. Now, the next time somebody tries to push that angels cast out of heaven, you got to take him in and say, well, what was this, a truce? Because that's what they're feeding off of. They're feeding off of their misunderstanding of Revelation chapter 12 when it says there were war in heaven. Michael and his angels fought, and the dragon and his angels fought. And in the Old Testament, it says, How art thou fallen from heaven, O Lucifer? It's their misunderstanding of those two verses that make them think that there was a war in heaven. And it says in Revelation, right, chapter 12 and verse 9, and that serpent was and the dragon was cast out. That old serpent called the devil and Satan, which deceiveth the whole world. He was cast out into the earth and his angels with him. They think that that's talking about, they think that that's talking about an actual conflict in the Heavenly Father, and they had to be banished. No, brother, that's the fall of the dominant civilization at the end of days. This is talking about the fall of the Edomite civilization, who the Most High also calls what? Lucifer in Isaiah chapter 14. You read Isaiah chapter 14, the tale of Lucifer, I should say, the account begins at verse 4, letting us know that this is what is going to happen when the king of Babylon falls. And it tells us we're going to erupt into singing. How hath the oppressor ceased? How has the wicked, the scepter of the wicked been broken? It's talking about, it's a recognition of what? Of the people who ruled. It says, he who ruled the people with a continual stroke is brought down, is persecuted, and none hindered, meaning nobody can save him. That's the Old Testament version of what Revelation chapter 12, the New Testament version, is saying. It's talking about the fall of the most powerful empire, of the most wicked seed in the history of mankind. That's what both of those chapters are talking about. It's talking about the one on earth who was chosen to play the wicked part. That's what Isaiah chapter 14 and Revelation chapter 12 is speaking of. And they don't understand it. And that's unfolding right now in this dynamic between Russia, right, and the West. And the battleground, the proxy battleground right now is Ukraine. Watch how this thing spirals out of control. They think the United States and NATO, they think they got it under control. But that's what this is. That thing that we're watching, or whether I don't know to what degree it's censored in the United States, but that thing is going to spiral out into Judgment Day. This thing that we're seeing unfold is going to spiral into the prophecies of Revelation chapter 12 and Isaiah chapter 14 being fulfilled. That's where this is headed. Well, who knows how soon it's going to be out, because the news is not telling everybody what's taking place. The Russians got together close to 1.5 million people and are getting ready to start an offensive pretty soon. This thing is so close, but that's what it's talking about. And so people, because they don't understand that the sons of God are categorized in two groups, they don't know how to determine which group is being spoken of. Is that you raising your hand?
No, I was just gonna say it's a little bit on topic, but I saw something about how they said like the doomsday clock. Doomsday clock, right?
Yes.
So I saw it. They said something about it being to like 90 seconds now. They said at 90 seconds.
Well, the Bible speaks of the day of doom, right?
Kind of, yeah.
That's in the book of Esdras. And nobody knows, man. Esau's putting it there, but I don't put no faith in his little clock. But we know that it's coming out. That's something that, remember, that's because all that is, they don't know it, but it's their attempt to measure judgment day. Because their doomsday clock is for how much time remains before the world erupts into a nuclear war. That's what it's for. But that actually is judgment day. That's the day that Christ described as the stars falling from heaven and then him popping up right at that moment, meaning the nuclear warhead that would have been fired just before they begin to re-enter and reach their destination. At that moment, Christ is going to appear with the angels and extract all of his elect, as he says, out of these places. And people in religion call that the rapture. These niggas is crazy. They don't know. And first of all, you ain't gonna even find the word. You might find rupture, but you ain't gonna find rapture in the Bible. Where did they get this? Like Nephilim, right? Like we looked up last week, the word's not even in the Bible. Just put there were giants in them days. But they have to spin everything and make everything seem so mysterious. And it's a mystery only because you don't know the Bible. The minute you read the Bible, or at least sit your prideful ass down and get taught by the Bible from the Most High's appointed teachers, then there won't be a mystery anymore. And it tells you, Paul lets you know that we're the ones, the Most High's sons, his saints, his ministers. It says we have been entrusted with the mysteries of the gospel of the kingdom. That's us. That's what the Most High revealed them to us, and not to them. All the things that people out here talking about, like they really think gold, guns, and the getaway plan gonna stop them. But every civilization, when it came time to be taken down, who got messed up most is those that had the most gold. Where's it coming from? Who had more gold than the kings of the Incan Empire? Who had more gold than the kings of the Mayan and the Aztec Empire? And did it save them? And they had massive. I'm talking about the Tenochtitlan, Mexico City alone, was more populous than Madrid, Spain, more populous than Lisboa, Portugal. And did their gold save them? No, their gold got taken. And that's what's going to happen to all these people that think they can prep by what? For doomsday by means of their own strength. Their guns aren't going to save them. Listen, the Most High is coming to take down the most powerful army in the history of mankind. Who do these people think they are with their little guns and their little bunkers? That's exactly what Christ said he's going to do. He said, first I will send for fishers and they shall fish them. That's what we're doing now. He said, but then I'm going to send for hunters and they shall hunt them and they shall get them out of all the caves and the rocks of the earth. That's talking about all of those different bunkers and those safe readouts that they think they can get away from, and all the places where they got millions of tons of food stored and seeds for the future. They're so out of this realm. So people don't understand. That's what we be reading about when we read Isaiah 14. You don't be reading about something that happened millennium ago in the spiritual realm. That's Greek mythology. Anyway, go ahead, Amayetas. Are you still there?
Yep.
All right. Read verse 7 again.
Okay.
So we're reading, guess what we're reading? We're literally reading a civil conversation between the Heavenly Father and Satan. And Satan is actually reporting to the Most High. Satan presents himself as the Most High's subordinate, not his opponent. Go ahead, read on, Amayetazar.
Verse 7. And the Lord said unto Satan, whence comest thou? Then Satan answered the Lord and said, from going to and fro in the earth, and from walking up and down in it. And the Lord said unto Satan, hast thou considered my servant Job, that there is none like him in the earth, a perfect and an upright man, one that feareth the Most High and escheweth evil?
So he's asking, did you get a chance by way to check out my servant Job? And then he begins to boast on Job's righteousness to Satan. Go ahead.
Verse 9. Then Satan answered the Lord and said, doth Job fear the Most High for naught?
He's like, look, Job don't respect you for nothing. Go ahead.
Verse 10. Has not thou made an hedge about him and about his house and about all that he have on every side?
Yeah, you protect him. Well, why? What's not to what love you for? You protect him. Everything that's his, you got to protect it. You get a little wall around it, right? You see Satan trying to what? Trying to get in there. Go ahead.
Thou hast blessed the work of his hands, and his substance is increased in the land. But put forth thine hand now.
You make him everything. Listen, everything Job touches turned to gold. That's what he's saying. So there isn't anything that Job, any effort that Job undertakes that doesn't prosper. But now he's coming with it. So now you would think the way these liars give this account of Satan, this is supposed to be a cuss out, dog fight, fist right now. And somebody's supposed to be getting fired for letting him in. Just think about it. Or somebody's supposed to be getting thrown down for letting this one back. When nigga, you take his place. But Satan is where he's supposed to be. What? Making his periodic reports. And when I say periodic, chapter 2. Go ahead, Amiyatazar.
Verse 11. But put forth thine hand now and touch all that he have, and he will curse thee to thy face.
Now listen to this. Satan is telling you. He is telling all of us in this dialogue, in this conversation, what part he plays to the Most High. Satan says, put forth your hand, Lord, and touch all that he hath, and you'll see he'll curse you your face. Now, how does the Lord respond? Read the next verse.
Verse 12. And the Lord said unto Satan, behold, all that he have is in thy power.
Stop. What is he saying? Satan is the hand of the Most High. Those two verses let us know that. Verse 11. But put forth thine hand now, Lord, is what he's saying, and touch all that he hath. That means, but you use your hand to afflict his material wealth, and he will curse thee to thy face. And the Most High comes back and said, okay, cool. And the Lord said unto Satan, behold, all that he hath is in thy power. So when Satan said, put forth thine hand, he was saying, Lord, let me at him, and I'll show you. And the Lord said, you got all that he got. But what? But don't touch him. He set the parameters. Now, if Satan was this badass, like they're trying to make it seem, then he wouldn't have respected the parameters. He wouldn't have respected the limits that was placed on him. What are the limits? Read verse 12 again, I'm gonna stop.
He wouldn't even have asked for limits. He would have just done his own thing.
He wouldn't have said, put forth your hands. He just said, I'm gonna show you something.
Exactly.
You run around here boasting on Job. I'm gonna show you. Now keep your eyes on me. That's a request. Put forth thy hands now. And all that he has. That means what? Let me at his material wealth. How do you know that's what he was asking? Because the Most High responded, okay, everything that he hath is in your power. And Satan is the left hand of the Most High. The scriptures tell you that's what he is, man. That's what this is telling us. Whether people can understand that, whether that's what their comprehension leads them to is another thing, but that's clearly what it's saying. Go ahead, read on down from verse 12.
Okay, verse 12. And the Lord said unto Satan, behold, all that he have is in thy power. Only upon himself put not forth thine hand. So Satan went forth from the presence of the Lord.
So where did he go? He went back into the earth, and now he's stirring up through. You're going to see how the Most High gave this. Remember how we read the spirits that are created for vengeance? Well, this is not vengeance, but it's still a spirit, Satan. It's still an angel. And guess what? Now it's showing us that this is what the Most High also uses the spirits for, to try the hearts of men, to test them. Because that's what's happening to Satan. Satan is being used to see if he can perform something that will cause Job to change his attitude about the Most High, that will cause Job's perspective of the Most High to shift. That's what he's doing. It's like a little wager. But the parameters of this test have been established. You don't touch him. That's a scary thing because let's say you done got to the point where you please the most of that much, where he thinks you're ready for that type of test. And your kids got to go. Let's be real. Those of us recent fathers, there's a whole different type of love now. But Elisha like shit, nigga. I gotta find the balance between good and evil now, because but listen, the first thing to do is make you that's what it's designed to do. Don't get me wrong, it's designed to create a thought. Because you know why? Because if you don't have that thought, that's not the love isn't there. That's the reality of it. The love isn't there. If you could just flinch at the idea of the Most High taking your loved one, the love ain't there, right? We were made to be emotionally attached, but we weren't made to be emotionally enslaved. You understand? We weren't made to be emotionally enslaved, but we are supposed to be emotionally attached. That's what makes whatever one of our children, something happened to him, that's what make us care. That's what make us care for our woman. That's what make us care for our brother. That emotional attachment. Everybody can be, run around here with nothing. No, you're not attached to nothing. But the Most High, it's that emotional attachment, that love, that connection that's supposed to be there that the Most High wants in perspective. That's all. And the perspective that he wants is that I blessed you with that. That's my son that I gave to you. And that's what he tells you in Ezekiel chapter 16, Ezekiel chapter 23. He said, you caused my sons that I gave thee to pass through the fire. We're not ours, we're his. And what happens is the Most High have made us, given us custodial guardianship over the ones that he bring in through us. And then he gives us an extended custodial guardianship, we have custody, right? Over those that work with one another. Like I'm responsible for you. You guys are responsible for me. We are custodians to one another. We're surrogate parents, right? Surrogate shepherds. The Most High Christ is the good shepherd, and then we're all these shepherds that he have raised up to take care of that which is his until he get back. So your true love for the Most High, let me say this. Let me put it like this. Your true love for the Most High can only be measured into a certain capacity while you have no wife and children. It doesn't mean that you don't love them. It just means for the capacity that you have, right? What happens? That's that you've proven yourself. Now the Most High said, yeah, but you ain't lost nothing from me. Let me see how do you. That's what he's doing with Job. Satan wasn't lying. Satan said, listen, you blessed everything. You don't know if you really. Now the Most High knew. But Satan, that's the term, adversary. He's like that to make sure, if I get something in there, let me take a stab at it. Let me see how much you really love it. Watch what he call you when I finish with it. That's what he's saying. So now Satan has been given authority. His limits have been established. His latitude have been made clear. How far can he go? Beyond that, how far can he not go? Read on down to Yetazar.
Verse 13. And there was a day when his sons and his daughters were eating and drinking wine in their eldest brother's house.
Must have been first day of the week. Go ahead.
And there came a messenger unto Job and said, the oxen were plowing and the asses feeding beside them, and the Sabians fell upon them and took them away. Yea, they have slain the servants with the edge of the sword, and I only am escaped alone to tell thee.
Now let me say this. This is the spiritual demon Satan manifesting himself in a group of men called the Sabians. The Sabians are one of the families of Cush. All right, look it up. One of the families of Cush. Now you have, I think Ishmael had someone who were called the Sabians, and Cush. They're people. Now remember, when we read about the spirits that are created for vengeance, although this isn't vengeance being executed or carried out upon Job, it is a test, it's still the same thing. It's spirits. Remember what it said in verse 30. It said, teeth of wild beasts and scorpions, serpents, and the sword. That's talking about what? War, attack, violence, punishing the wicked to destruction. So although this wasn't a punishment for Job. It still was spirits being deployed to execute what the Most High has sanctioned. And so Satan and the spirit jumped into that band of men. Go ahead, read on down.
Verse 16. While he was yet speaking, there came also another and said, the fire of the Most High is falling.
Imagine you getting some bad news and somebody, and all you got was enough to catch the part that makes your heart sing. And then now your heart been sing because you caught enough of that message to get that. He's interrupted by someone with even worse news. Before this day is over, your heart's gonna be somewhere around your damn sphincter. You ready to leave your body. Y'all know that feeling when you get that bad news, something boom, and it's like that something sick right in your gut. So right at that point, someone else interrupts him with some more bad news. Go ahead.
Verse 16. While he was yet speaking, there came also another and said, the fire of the Most High is fallen from heaven, and have burnt up the sheep and the servants, and consumed them. And I only am escaped only to tell thee. Sorry,
Now,
and I only.
Go ahead, I'm sorry.
And I only am escaped alone to tell thee.
Verse 29 of Ecclesiastes 39, fire and hell. So we know these are spirits now. We read that in Psalm, that maketh his angels fire, his ministers, right? This is it. And he's using Satan to do it.
Could I add a scripture to it?
Yeah, call it out.
Job 37 and verse 9.
Read it, please.
Job chapter 37, verse 9. It's 9 to 13. It's
Okay, go ahead.
out of the south cometh the whirlwind, and cold out of the north. By the breath of the Most High, frost is given, and the breath of the waters is straightened. Also by watering, he wearieth the thick cloud, he scattereth his bright cloud, and it turneth round about by his counsel, that they may do whatsoever he commanded them upon the face of the whole world in the earth.
Check that out. Go ahead.
He causeth it to come, whether for correction, or for his land, or for mercy.
See that? Now he's talking about the rain, right?
Good.
Go ahead.
No, that was it. That was it.
But listen, it shows you. In Job's case, it wasn't correction. In Job's case, it was a trial.
Right.
That's it. But he still uses the spirits to do it, and this is how they manifest themselves. Go ahead.
Verse 17 of Job chapter 1. While he was yet speaking, there came also another and said, the Chaldeans made out 3 bands and fell upon the camels and have carried them away, yea, and slain the servants with the edge of the sword, and I only am escaped alone to tell thee.
Yeah, in every case, the Most High, the news had to get back to Job, and the Most High wanted him to get that rapid fire, this one incessant, one bad news after the other. So the Chaldeans are the people from whom we were extracted. The Chaldeans are the descendants of Arphaxad. Remember, you read Genesis chapter 10, Genesis chapter 11, Shem. Shem had 6 or 5 sons, actually. Arphaxad, Aram, Lud, Put, and Ashur. Ashur became the Assyrians. Lud became the Lydians. Aram became the Syrians. Who else did I say now? Boom, 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 boom. Arphaxad became the Chaldean. And who was the other one? Let's go through it again. Arphaxad, Elam. I didn't mention Elam. Elam became the Persians. So once again, Arphaxad, Elam, Lud, Ashur, and Aram. The Chaldeans are the people who dwelt in Mesopotamia, and they were the people from whom the Most High pulled out Abraham. Like if he hadn't pulled us out, we'd still be Chaldeans somewhere in the earth today, whoever they are. Right? That's what genealogy would come from. So now the Most High got these Chaldeans, and they go and they take off another one of what? Another portion of Job's wealth and kill all the servants that's out there. Basically, you know, the shepherds and stuff. Go ahead, on the read the last one. Or
Verse
the
18. Verse 18. While he was yet speaking, there came also another and said, Thy sons and thy daughters were eating and drinking wine in their eldest brother's house. And behold, there came a great wind from the wilderness and smote the four corners of the house.
Now stop. So in two instances, we have the Most High sanctioning Satan to take his power and operate through bands of men, and in other two accounts, through the elements, through nature, fire and wind. And this is all the Most High using Satan to try Job. These are the celestial sons of the Most High, not this, and Job and Satan didn't disobey. Read on down.
Verse 19. And behold, there came a great wind from the wilderness and smote the four corners of the house, and it fell upon the young men, and they are dead. And I only am escaped alone to tell thee.
Go ahead.
Then Job arose and rent his mantle and shaved his head and fell down upon the ground and worshipped and said, Naked came I out of my mother's womb, and naked shall I return thither. The Lord gave, and the Lord hath taken away. Blessed be the name of the Lord. In all this, Job sinned not, nor charged the Most High foolishly.
We're going to stop right there. Not next week. You guys got your Friday, and then after that, I'm going to come back, and we're going to read Job chapter 2, and we're going to go to another, one more will be good enough. Job chapter 2 and 2 Chronicles, right? 2 Chronicles chapter 18, about the spirits and their counsel concerning Ahab. And you guys know, I think you guys have gotten and read that already, how the Most High wanted Ahab to fall in Ramoth Gilead, but he had a counsel. And he said, there came forth the spirit and said, you know what, I know how to make this nigga fall. You know how they rely on the prophets, right? But I could be a lying tongue in the mouth of all of his prophets. And guess how powerful that angel was? That spirit became a lying tongue in the mouth of 400 men. And that one was for vengeance. That one was for what? For chastisement. Because he wanted Ahab to fall. So these, what we're reading, like I said, are, as a matter of fact, and then once we finish that, we got a couple of more, and then we're gonna move on to the verses that help us to understand the sons of the Most High, the terrestrial category, whom we are. All right, and we are Adams. We are the successors of Adam. And when I say the successors, I say that word instead of descendants, because everybody are the descendants now. Like before the flood, everybody didn't come from Adam. There were multiple peoples, and the proof is that's why the Most High said the sons of God, meaning the people, the descendants of Adam, saw that the daughters of men were fair. We started messing with the women from the other groups, who during that time in Genesis are classified as cattle and beasts. Let me prove that with one verse real quick. Go to Genesis chapter 3 and verse 1.
Genesis chapter 3 and verse 1. Now the serpent was more subtle than any beast of the field which the Lord power had made.
Now all those other beasts, he's talking about the other groups of people. Why? Because Satan, the serpent, was a group of people. How do we know that? Revelation chapter 12. Revelation chapter 20 is talking about, Revelation chapter 12 and chapter 20 are speaking of the elaborate Edomite civilization. That's why it says 7 heads and 10 horns. Of this seed, at the end, before Christ will come, this kingdom will have produced, right? This nation will have produced 7 leading empires and 10 not so powerful ones. And some of those 10 not so powerful ones have just lost the spot of being ahead. It's literally talking about the European civilization, y'all. And the Europeans know it. That's why the EU Parliament building, you know, it's built like the Parliament building is built like an incomplete Tower of Babel. Y'all ever seen that image?
Huh.
They know that they're the dead. They have a woman, they have a statue of a woman on a beast holding the horns and riding to simulate what's written in chapter 17. A woman riding what? A beast. It's talking about the legend of Europa. That's what they call the land Europe. The point is that that's what this is talking about, man. That Genesis is letting us know that of all the groups of people that were there that are classified as beasts, the serpent was more subtle than any of them. And this one had an objective. And that was because it tells us, we read this in Wisdom of Solomon chapter 2 and verse 24, that they were envious of what the righteous had been given. And that's why they sought to do what it required to cause Adam to what? To go from mortal to immortal, or from immortal to mortal, to lose his immortality. And Christ came back so that we could what? So that we could regain our status. Remember, we fell from our former estate. Our former estate was immortality or immortal. They got the movie The Immortals. That's Israel, man. Running around here with all these damn white folks and Greeks and stuff, just mixing the Bible with mythology. So we'll see you guys not this coming week, but the following Friday after. Because I know you guys have your dynamic and y'all brothers be teaching, and you have your Fridays down, y'all be getting down and live shine, y'all. So we don't want to take that. You know, this, you guys see this just a lot into it, and then basically what a war called freestyle, that's what I be doing. So the Spirit be giving me, you know, the Spirit be giving it to me to deal how it wants you guys to get it. So I don't want to restrict that. I don't want to have it so choppy where you end up getting something that we could have gotten about 4 weeks, maybe 6 tops over a period of 6 months, because it'd be too disjointed. You know what I mean? So you guys enjoy your Sabbath tomorrow, and you enjoy your following Friday, and I'm and I will see you the Friday after this coming.
Hey, good to see y'all.
Say that again, brother.
Good to see both of y'all, brother.
Hey, man, it's good to see y'all, man. Y'all be so busy, I never really get to see you out.
Y'all come, brother. Paperwork wars.
I know, man.
Satan be on the side.
But listen, but remember, he's just a sparring partner.
Yeah.
Don't give him no more power than what you know. Don't give him no more role than what we know he plays. Like, he just there to keep us sharp. That's the reality of it. You know? All right, y'all.
Shalom.
What? Right?
Yahweh Shem Shah Baraka Thumb.
Dismiss.
All right.
Hold on.
Y'all enjoy your Sabbath, man. There you